Welcome back to the Student Pages podcast. Once again, I am your host, Grace Sanders, and we are very excited to once again bring you a very special series on DJing, sponsored by Alpha Theatre, the market leader in design and production of innovative DJ equipment and software, and Pioneer DJ Sisters brand. Today, we are welcoming the host of Dance Floor Anthems Radio, DJ Sarah Parker. Hello, how are you doing?
Hello, Grace. I'm good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I was this close to calling you Sarah Jessica Parker then. But I was like, no, okay,
No,
don't stumble over that.
no. Do you know what though? So my middle name is Bo. So
Hmm.
whenever anyone asks me what my stage name is, I go just think Sarah Jessica Parker, but Bo in the middle. So you knew it. You read my mind. You read my mind completely.
Would you ever show an SBP or like a
Yeah, in fact, so some of my old work colleagues, when I used to work in a record label, they used to all call me SVP anyway. So again, you're mind reading at this point. But yeah, SVP, it's a bit bouncy, isn't it?
Yeah, we can have a little like DJ alter ego. I know a couple of like musicians do it and everything.
Yeah, this is my pseudo name, SVP.
Cracking. So I guess like pretty much over to you. I want to know all about your career in DJing, how you got started, where you are now. Please take the reins.
Yes, so as you said, my name is Sarah Bo Parker. I've been DJing since 2019. I've always been a bit of a risk taker. I'm a bit of a risk taker in my field. And I got to a point where I was working for record labels, working for Sony Music. I absolutely loved working at Sony. It's actually one of the reasons why I am where I am, because one of my sayings is your net worth. So I was able to make some really amazing friends and colleagues in those 2 years I worked at Sony, which inspired me to become a DJ in the first place. What I've realized is I was certainly in the right arena, but I was playing the wrong sport. I love music, I love performances. Fortunately, I'm not Beyonce when it comes to picking up a microphone. So hard pill to swallow. So I kind of just fell into the DJ world. I've always been very, very passionate about radio as well. So I've been doing radio since my time at Sony Music. And it came to a point where I was like, I either do this now or I never do it. So I left Sony. I joined Modest Management for 10 months to work on M&EK, the artist and producer's first album. And it got to the
Mhm.
end of that campaign and I was like, I actually just have to jump and make this happen or I'm gonna regret it forever. So I left without a plan B. When I think about it now, I'm like, wow, I left without a plan B. I was like, I'm gonna become a DJ. And I literally I faked it till I made it. I told everyone I was a DJ. I was hitting up promoters on Instagram, being like, hey man, I'm the best DJ. Really need to book me for your next show. And I was like sending this out to all these different promoters, all these different events. By the way, I had never DJed at this point in my life. So, but I knew this is what I was meant to do. And I managed to get my first ever show on the 1st of February 2019, an event called Love at First Vibe. And I literally gave myself 2 weeks to be able to perform a 45-minute set. And since then I haven't looked back. So that's kind of the story as to how I've become a DJ.
I guess like being a DJ, you have to be such a self-starter, and as long as you have that confidence, like you said, there was no, well, not no need for a plan B, but as long as you have that mindset, you just got to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, you've definitely got to have grit
Hmm.
and determination. And it's such an amazing industry. It's wonderful. The highs are incredible. I just the weekend, I had my debut. I'm actually in a new DJ duo called Girl Dance. And we had our debut at the Mighty Hoopla Festival in Brockwell Park. And I literally had goosebumps all over my body the entire set. Like it was insane and incredible. But I also need to recognize and remember that though you do have those down moments and those lull moments and those moments where you have to, like you said, be a self-starter. There's times where you're working on your own a lot when you're a DJ and when you're a radio host and all these things. So you've got to have that self-motivation. I think is really, really key.
Two things there. You've just mentioned your new duo as well as the start of festival season. But I just
Mm,
want to bring it back a little bit because the 1st of Feb 2019 is ringing alarm bells for me, as in the 1st of March 2020. You had like a year before COVID hit. How did those
I
two
know.
environments differ?
Yeah, so I mean, classic timing. Absolute classic timing. So I'm not gonna lie, it was hard. It was tricky because I had my first year DJing and it was amazing. And my second ever show was Ministry of Sound. So I was playing like all these amazing clubs in London, playing all these cool parties, and then come March, everything shut down essentially for 2 years. So I kind of just had to accept it for what it was. It was so out of my control. I saw what was going on. I'm a massive advocate for mental health as well myself. And I picked up Wim Hof breathing and breath work and ice baths and that type of thing because I knew I really needed it just to kind of keep myself grounded. But I knew it was out of my control. But the second we were able to get back outside again and throw parties, even though there was only 6 people allowed on a table at the time, I threw myself straight back into the deep end. But I was doing some live streams, but personally, I'm such a people's person. I feed off energy from being in a room with people. That's what I love about DJing is like, it's almost like that spiritual connection you have when you see people in a state of euphoria when they hear the song that you're playing. So I did really, really miss that. So the second I had the chance to get back outside again and start performing, best believe I was there.
I suppose so much of DJing is working off the audience and the crowd and to see what they're vibing with, see what they're not vibing with, and where to take that set as well. How
Yeah.
did you find the experience of live streaming when you're kind of just playing in your room?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a definite time and a place for live streaming. I think like if you live stream on TikTok and Instagram, it's a really great way to connect to people internationally that you wouldn't, and also to a huge global audience. It is amazing. But I personally feel like even though you can see people's comments, I personally love to see people looking at me, mouthing like the song lyrics or just dancing with their friend. And it's very different to when you're looking at a screen and looking at yourself because you feed off your own energy and that's awesome. But to feed off a crowd, there is no feeling like it. It's magnetic.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it's being able to go back and like be in raves and be around people and sharing space is so amazing. It was really key for the industry, I think. It was super key.
When I've spoken a lot about social media, TikToks with other DJs on the series with Alpha Theatre that we've had, a lot of them mention it's almost like a bridge to self-promotion now. Like you have to do the online stuff. That's the stepping stones to get to that in-person stuff. How have you utilized like social media for creating a brand that you have?
I think I do agree with that and I don't agree with that. And I can only talk from my experience completely. And I think social media is so important to showcase your personality, showcase what you want to play. And it's a really cool arena for you to explore as well. I think personally, I can be a bit of a perfectionist and sometimes I'm like, I don't want to put that online in case it doesn't deliver, if it doesn't work, or what if it only gets like 3 likes or versus 3,000 whatever. But actually it's such a good arena for you to explore your creativity. And Rick Rubin always says like you create art for yourself and your fans and your audience will come to you, and sometimes everything just takes a bit of time. And like if whilst you're building up your social media and your social brand and your personal brand, don't be afraid to create a mix which showcases your musical talent and your musical ear, but reach out to people independently. And it's not all about the social following, because I think if people see you, see your potential, see your passion, and see your talent, they will book you in spots and in places that will then allow you to get social content to then put on your social media. So I think it's a bit of both. I think you do need to have social media in order to get you through some doors, but other doors, I honestly think it's down to your networking, your enthusiasm, your passion, and showing a genuine interest in what you do. And that really comes across and people can see it, they can feel it.
And how do you find networking in such like a party culture? Because I bet it's really easy to get lost in that whilst keeping it professional.
Yeah, I think you just need to have boundaries and you just need to understand how you work, how your body works. Listen to your body when you need a break. Not all DJs drink, not all DJs party. A lot of DJs love it literally just to create the party. But I think also it's a fun industry, isn't it? So you don't want to restrict yourself to not doing or going to certain networking events or whatever. But I think just being open to going for it. You never know if you go for that extra drink with someone, and you can also order like a soda water and they'll never notice. But you just never know what conversation can start from you being like, I'm going to stay for an extra half an hour and just chat to this person. And that's also from my experience. You never know where people are going to end up. So you could all be like, for example, when I started at Sony, we were all interning. And when we all started there, that's how you kind of get your foot in the door. And then some of the people that I'm working with are now MDs in LA, like for music labels. I'm a DJ that I play for Formula One, and I travel around the world and play at festivals, and like, you never know. And then you end up connecting with each other and you're like, how did we all how did we all get here? So it's all about, with networking, it's about being genuine and staying in touch with people and showing a genuine interest in what other people are doing, I think, and showing genuine support is also really important. Yeah.
Absolutely. I suppose you have so many people this time of year coming out the woodwork as well, because we've now got the beginning of party season. We've got the beginning of festivals. We've got the beginning of Ibiza, which I would absolutely love to talk about. I have just booked my ticket. This is my first time ever. If you have any
Yes.
recommendations, let me
Oh,
know.
when are you going?
We're going in a couple of weeks, so like just at the start of the season, not mid-season. But the
Great.
most important thing, the shuttle buses are on. That was what I needed to check. So I'm not paying €1 million for a taxi halfway across the island.
Yeah, no, do you know what? Ibiza, do you know what? The bank balance might get a little dent, but I
Yeah.
promise you, it's such a special island. Like, no matter, I actually just came back from Ibiza like two weeks ago. So I was like the second opening party for Glitterbox. It was incredible. And you leave feeling recharged. There's something so special about the island, and you meet the most incredible people. And I've made half of my music friends genuinely in Ibiza, and then we all realized that we all live in London. So then the networking like never finishes, because it never feels like networking, because it's so genuine. So you're gonna have an amazing time. You're gonna meet some incredible people. I'm excited for you. You know what's so funny is like some people do definitely come back at, and if it's your first time in Ibiza, I think you owe that to yourself to do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You do. But honestly, because the island is so like, make sure you go in the sea, make sure you go in the sea the next day, and just get yourself a good old English fry up, big orange juice, and you'll be fine. Like, you will honestly just be so happy. Everyone is so nice there. So yeah, I wish I was having my first time in Ibiza again. Wow.
As well, you mentioned you just kicked off with your all-female DJ duo girl dance at Mighty Hoopla, which was just over the weekend.
I think actually going to events and going to raves and going to parties is actually so fundamental for society, because the things that happen on that dance floor is just euphoric. Like, you really do find some, like, potentially your best mates, you have the best times, and it's so special on the dance floor. And to hear that residents want to shut it down is like quite disheartening, because we had it taken away from us for so long. However, I also feel that, you know, I can understand it from their perspective. So, because as a resident, I'd understand it, but luckily I haven't been impacted personally, which is incredible, and none of my peers have been as well, which is really great to hear. So at the moment, everything seems to be smooth sailing, but maybe ask me in 2 weeks.
Yes, we'll see. Did you open with Mighty Hoopla this year, or was that like festival number X of however many?
This was our first festival. Yeah, yeah. So we had a really good stage time. We performed at 6 to 7 on Sunday. So it was like, 'cause the festival opens at 11, so it was a really, really good stage time for us. And honestly, it was such an aha moment for me and for Tanya, who's also in girl dance. The crowd was incredible. There was a massive queue outside our tent, which is wild. And we got told Jessie Ware was in the queue to get in, which is so
Incredible.
cool. It was just awesome, honestly. And so, yeah, it was a very special weekend for sure.
That's so good to see that there's so much anticipation for all female DJs as well. How have you found breaking into that space, which is really typically quite male?
Do you know what? I've actually started using it as my superpower, because there's no point fighting against, like, fire against fire. It is what it is, and is a very male dominated industry. A lot of the time when you see festival lineups, I'm like, there's like 3 women on this as DJs. But I do think that there's been a huge turnaround. You know, you've got DJs like Ariel Free, Sarah Story, Jaguar, like they're all really like pushing boundaries and getting like the most amazing bookings and really taking over. So I think that right now is actually a really amazing time to be a female DJ, because we are being listened to, we are getting booked. In fact, female DJs, that people are looking specifically for a female DJ now. So I find that a lot of the events, I do a lot of brand events as well. And a lot of the time I'll have my male DJs hit me up and be like, Sarah, they're actually looking for a female, so we thought of you, do you want it? So it's actually really nice that people are specifically asking for women, which is awesome. And that's kind of why we're doing Girl Dance now, because I'm a massive house head. I love my house music. But when I look at duo DJs, they're all men, like Groove Armada, Daft Punk, Disclosure, and like Gorgon City. They're all amazing, and I'm a huge fan of them. But I'm like, where's the female, the female equivalent? And that's why we've created Girl Dance, because we want to create a community around that, which we can build upon and just really create a very inclusive, positive, good time vibe.
It's great to hear that you have that bubble of positivity as well, because in such a, well, what can be quite an individual and isolating industry, I bet it can get quite negative at times.
I think it can do, but I think like I've mentioned before, I'm a real big advocate for mental health. So I do a lot of work on my mindset and cultivating confidence. I didn't wake up feeling confident, and I think I've always been a positive person, but I've really worked on it whilst especially being in this industry, because like I have a mentor in that space. Like I'm very serious about it, because it is very lonely. I work on my own basically every day, and unless I go into like co-working spaces or unless I've got gigs, and I have management and people that I can talk to, and I've got Tanya and Girl Dance, but essentially like you do work alone. And there can be times where there are stressful things coming up, really big shows, and it's very overwhelming, and you have to really train yourself to remain calm and grounded, because of course we all get nervous before we do a big show. Still, like I get super nervous before then. So yeah, keeping a positive mindset and protecting my energy, I've been very precious about, and it really has made a massive difference. But in terms of like negativity in the industry, maybe I feel quite lucky that I just haven't been around that. I feel that I'm quite selective of the people that I surround myself with in the music industry. And honestly, I feel so blessed that we all just support each other. All the female DJs that I know, we all give each other shows, or we put each other in touch with different promoters or A&Rs or whatever. We have an event, I'll be like, come with me to this event. I want to introduce you to this booker, and then let's try and get you into Ministry of Sound or like whatever. And I just feel that once you give off that energy, you just kind of cultivate that around, which is awesome. So yeah, I've managed to avoid anything negative, which has been a blessing.
I suppose you put that out there though, because if you are having this culture of lifting other people up, people will help you as well, and they will give that back.
Yeah, I think so. I think also I always give. There's another thing that I've learned in my mindset work is you always want to give without actually wanting to get anything back. You just give and then just see what happens naturally. But with female and male DJs, we help each other out all the time. If someone calls me and they're like, I've got this show, do you have music or anything that you can help me with for all that? I'll be like, sure, let's help each other out. And then 2 weeks later, I might have a favor to ask them, and we just help. But it's amazing because you just know people have got your back. And I think it's important, if you're starting out in this industry, to cultivate those type of relationships and friendships. It's people that you can bounce off, people that you can ask advice for, because also there's a lot of stuff around money and like finances and all these different things that you're not taught at school, and there's no handbook in how you do these things. So it's really important to have like a little black book of people you can call up to be like, this is going on, they've offered me this fee, or this booker is asking for this thing in my contract, what do you think I should do? So it's good to have people that that are a little bit more experienced or are on your kind of level that you can bounce off. So I think that's important.
You've touched upon some great points there for people that are just starting out in the industry, and that's fantastic, because as the Student Pages podcast, we're wanting to know what is your main advice for students who are just starting out.
Students are just starting out as DJs, right? I think in terms of like your music, I think it's really important to not stick to one genre at the very beginning. I think experiment. Use this time to experiment with all types of different genres, because that will become your USP. If you're just playing house music, if you're just playing drum and bass, you will kind of hit a ceiling at some point, and you want to use this time to experiment and then niche down, is what I would say, because then you'll really find your USP, who you are as an artist. And that was advice that was given to me by one of my mentors. You will eventually niche down, but first off, just explore and experiment. I would say know your worth in terms of what fees you're willing to play for. Don't play for free, is what I would say. Like don't because people will really take the mick, and they will really try and utilize that. And the problem is, when you accept shows and not get paid, it actually has a massive impact on the wider industry. So just know you deserve to be paid, know your value. And obviously you're starting off small, so don't expect to get paid, $1,000 for your first gig or like whatever, but don't accept anything where you're like, that doesn't feel right. So, sorry, in that really long-winded way, I'd say listen and trust your intuition when it comes to fees. Another thing I would say is get yourself a mentor. I think getting yourself a mentor is really important, because they can help you in so many ways. They'll see your passion and they'll see your talent, and they can help open doors which you wouldn't necessarily be able to open for yourself. But if they see that you're talented and that you're hungry and that your desire is to get to D, say from A to D, they'll be able to help you, and they have so much experience which can help you do that. And with having a mentor, I would say make sure you know where you want to go and what kind of artist, what kind of DJ you want to be. Have an idea so then they can help map it out for you. And I'd say have fun. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, because we all make mistakes. And just follow your heart with the music, man. Just enjoy it. It's not that serious. We're not brain surgeons. It's okay if we mess up. It's okay if you make a dodgy mix. It's all part of the fun. And put yourself out there is another thing I would say. How I met all of my mentors, actually, I've had quite a few, and I remain friends with them today, is some of them I literally saw at events, and I was like, okay, how do I go over and talk to them and introduce myself? And I was clutching at straws for so many of them, but I was like, what can I say? And from putting myself out there and having that small interaction with them allowed me to then build up relationships with them, and then they eventually became my mentors, and then actually I've learned so much from them. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there.
I think you've offered some very sage advice there. Absolutely fantastic.
As you can tell, I like a yap. So sorry, it's a lot.
That's exactly what we want. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
But before we go, I've got to ask you some very, very important questions. I've got to ask you, your favorite club to gig at, can be anywhere in the world. Your favorite festival to go to, as well as your favorite DJ. And I'll push you to name a name, but if you want to give me a specific set so you're not showing favorites, that's also okay.
Okay. All right. Lovely. All right. My favorite club in London.
Doesn't have to be in London, can be anywhere in the world.
Oh, I like an outdoor club. My favorite club that I've ever played in was in Croatia, the 585 Club. That was honestly insane. Playing in 30 degrees heat every time. Yes. My favorite festival, it has to be Glastonbury. I just love Glastonbury. It's the most incredible, magical week of your life. And my favorite DJ, that's so hard, that's so tricky, but I love Eats Everything. He is a phenomenal DJ. He's a phenomenal selector. And the way that he mixes tunes over vocals is just incredible. He's a master at what he does. So yeah, he's one of my favorite DJs. And he's such a good producer as well. His tunes are amazing. He's just like happy house. We love it.
It's been absolutely fantastic to speak to you today. Thank you ever so much. And we will definitely be looking out for not only DJ Sarah Jessica Parker, but also a girl dance at festivals throughout the season. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you, darling.